Following the chaos in Ayodhya, the kingdom faces a new crisis. Bharat has publicly rejected the crown, vowing instead to find Ram in the wilderness and restore him to the throne. But Bharat doesn't travel like a typical pilgrim. He marches into the forest at the head of the full royal Chaturangini army, a massive formation of cavalry, war elephants, and thousands of infantry. Watching from the shadows of the dense forest is Nishadraj Guh. As the king of the forest tribes and a devoted protector of Ram, Guh treats any approach toward Ram's hermitage as a potential threat. This map shows a massive military force converging on the exact spot where Ram is most vulnerable. From Guha's perspective, the logic is inescapable. A newly crowned king doesn't bring an army into the woods to talk. He brings them to eliminate his only political rival. Guh immediately mobilizes his tribal warriors. He orders his archers to take positions in the thickets and swears on the holy Ganga that Bharat's forces will have to step over the bodies of the forest people before they reach Ram. A catastrophic war is now seconds away, triggered by a simple reality. Bharat's pure intentions are completely hidden behind the terrifying silhouette of a marching army. Before ordering his archers to fire, Guh decides to infiltrate the Ayodhya camp. He needs to see the face of the man who would hunt his own brother through the wilderness. He expects to find a conqueror celebrating his new power. Instead, he finds a man in tattered ascetic robes, walking barefoot until his feet bleed, his face hollowed by grief and exhaustion. Softening his stance, Guh leads Bharat to this banyan tree. He points out a small patch of dry, crushed grass, the exact spot where Ram and Sita slept on the bare ground during their first night away from the palace. At the sight of the grass bed, Bharat breaks. He collapses, weeping as he touches the dirt where his brother slept, openly cursing the political greed of his own mother that led to this moment. Guh watches a prince who could have stayed in a palace choose instead to suffer in the dirt. He realizes that a man seeking a throne doesn't weep for his rival's hardships, and he signals his warriors to stand down. Further north, in the mountains of Chitrakoot, the dust-cloths from the army finally reach the horizon. Standing on a high ridge, Lakshman spots the banners of Ayodhya moving steadily toward their camp. To Lakshman, the sight of those royal banners is proof of a betrayal. He believes the crown of Ayodhya has already changed Bharat, turning him into a king who is now arriving to secure his reign at any cost. Lakshman doesn't wait for a parley. He strings his bow and prepares to rain arrows down on the valley, vowing that the army will be destroyed before they can threaten Ram's life. Just as Lakshman is about to fire, Ram steps into his path. He remains perfectly still, looking past the approaching chariots and the glint of spears to see something his brother has missed. Ram challenges Lakshman's view of their brother. He argues that while a crown might tempt an ordinary man, Bharat's nature is fixed. Even the promise of ruling the entire world wouldn't be enough to turn him against his family. Ram points out that they have known Bharat since childhood. He reminds Lakshman that years of shared history and proven character are more reliable than the sight of a few flags in the distance. Bharat doesn't wait for his army. He breaks into a frantic run, tearing through dense forest underbrush and stumbling over roots to reach the hermitage. As he breaks into the clearing, Bharat drops to his knees. He crawls to Ram's feet, his voice failing as he begs for forgiveness for a crime he never wanted. Before Bharat can finish his apology, Ram reaches down and pulls him into a fierce embrace. In that single moment, the entire threat of a civil war simply vanishes. The complex political schemes hatched in the Ayodhya palace, meant to turn these brothers into enemies, have failed. But even with this reunion, the conflict isn't over. Will Bharat's grief be enough to convince Ram to return home, or will the weight of duty keep them apart for 14 years? Tell us what you would have done in Bharat's place in the comments. And to see the conclusion, make sure to like this video and subscribe.